Hey, how are you? I'm Rich, and in today's lesson, we're going to look at installing a hypervisor. So we'll go through what a hypervisor is, a little bit how it works, and then we'll take you through installing two popular free hypervisors. So let's get on with it. What is a hypervisor? So I've taken this quote off the internet. It's from the VMware.com website. Hypervisor, also known as a virtual machine monitor, it's software that creates and runs virtual machines or VMs. A hypervisor allows one host computer to support multiple guest VMs by virtually sharing its resources such as memory and processing. And that's the key here. It means that your one computer can run inside it more operating systems. So what's the benefits of using a hypervisor? And one of the key benefits is when you want to start playing with machines, different operating systems, different software, you install it on your base computer, something goes wrong, there's a massive potential for you to damage your system somehow. You could knack it up the registry, break something internally, software wise, and the consequences, you might have to reload your system. And trust me, I've binned many systems over the years. You don't want to be having to reload your computer all the time, especially if it's your main computer that you're using all the time. And one of the big selling points of hypervisors and virtual machines is the ability to take a snapshot. So with a snapshot, what you do is you take almost like an image of the configuration of that virtual machine. And if anything goes wrong with it, you do something you don't like, you change some settings you can't recover from, close it down and just revert back to that initial snapshot, carry on as if you'd never done it in the first place. The hypervisors and setting up VMs is great for trialing, learning new operating systems. Let's say, like me, I'm a Windows guy. Before getting into cybersecurity and learning all about cyber, I'd never really touched Linux. So it was great. Install a hypervisor, load up Linux. Let's see what it does. If I break it, makes no odds. You just delete it, start again, and you don't affect your computer. Again, with new software, you don't know how it's going to affect your system. So fire up a virtual machine, install it on the virtual machine, see how it goes, learn to use it. If you like it, great. If you don't, bin it, revert to a snapshot, get rid of it. And the other bonus of hypervisors and virtual machines is setting up labs, especially in the cyber security community. You set up your host or attacker machine or defender machine, whichever way you're going, red or blue. Then you can set up a number of different systems within this hypervisor that you can operate as if it's your own little internal network. So whereas I've got a couple of machines here that I could network and utilize as a lab, and I could pivot through them and attack them or use software to look at defending them, things like that, you can do it all in a hypervisor. Not to the same extent, because there's limitations. This thing is running on your base machine, so its constraints are the resources of what your machine can provide. Excuse me. Oh, by the way, I have to point out these videos are recorded live. They're not streamed live, they're recorded live. There's no post-editing. And this is IT. Very often in IT, things can go wrong. So if it does, hopefully I'll be able to pause the video, sort it out, come back to it, carry on. But you're going to see how things operate in the real world. There's no editing, no taking out the bits that went wrong, put them in so it looks as though it all went fine, and you're sitting there looking at screens going, why doesn't mine look like that? What's happening? Apologies, notifications aren't turned off. There you go, live recording. You get to see it as it is, real world. yeah, as if however you could encounter it. So back to hypervisors. There's two types of hypervisors, a type 1 and a type 2. A type 1 hypervisor is what we call a bare metal. This is the hypervisor software that we install direct onto a machine. So we get a computer, there's no operating system on it, there's no Windows, Linux, Mac or anything. We have the hypervisor software and we install that as the base operating system. That allows all the hardware to connect directly through it, and then we install the virtual machines as operating systems on top of that hypervisor. So you can see in this picture you've got the hardware of the machine, so that's your computer, your laptop, whatever it is you're using. Then you've got the hypervisor software, and then the operating system sit inside. We're not going to be going through that. At some point in the future I will. I've got a couple of hypervisor bare metal setup. I use Proxmox because it's nice, simple, easy, and best of all it's free. Other things like there's other bare metal hypervisors like ESXi and VMware and all that. They normally cost a pretty penny for newbies and starters, so we tend to go for the type 2 hypervisor. Now the type 2 hypervisor runs within a base operating system. So you've got your hardware here, then you have your host operating system, so your Windows, Linux, whatever that may be, and then your hypervisor software sits on top of that, and then your VMs sit on top of that hypervisor. So whereas a type 1 hypervisor can share its resources direct with the virtual machines, with a type 2, the resources are taken up primarily by the host operating system. Then the hypervisor will share what it can of those resources to its machines. There's one important step before we go on with looking at the hypervisors and installing them, and I I nearly forgot to put this in, because you tend to do it once and then forget about it, because you don't have to do it again, and until you do a BIOS firmware update, which then resets this setting, and then you wonder why your VMs won't start up, like it happened to me a couple of weeks back. That's a different story. But to be able to get virtualization to work, most modern computers, motherboards and chips are capable of running hypervisors. A lot of the time that option isn't turned on in the BIOS. So you have to go into your BIOS, find the setting, enable it, save and exit. That's it. You do it once, and you crack on. However, unfortunately, I can't show you that happening, because every manufacturer, Dell, HP, excuse me, all the other manufacturers, they have different ways of entering the BIOS. Their BIOS setups and layouts are different, so I can't really run you through it. But what I have done, I found a couple of images that I found on Google just lying around, so I thought I'd just post them in here just to give you a little bit of an idea of what you're looking at. On this one it's Intel Virtual Technology, here it's called Virtualization, on this one over here it's Intel Virtualization Technology again. That looks almost HP-ish, certainly looks like the one that I've been running on. So basically you need to reboot your computer when you're ready to do it. When it comes to the black screen before all the post install and everything, you hit your system hotkey for entering the BIOS. That may be F12, it may be F2, maybe delete, it may be a combination of keys. Google search it. If you're running a Dell, let's say, into Google and just do a quick search, Dell BIOS key, just something like that, just to see what your variation is. Once you've got that enabled, the system reboots and you're back into your Windows or whatever operating system you're in, and you're ready to rock. So which ones are we going to use? I've picked two because they're free for starters, and when you're starting out, you don't want to be spending a huge amount of money, but not only are they free, they're really good. VirtualBox is, well, I'd probably say by far the most popular. It certainly is in me and the people I've encountered so far, the most popular. Unless you're looking at VMware Workstation Pro, but that's the paid version. The free version's VirtualBox. It's often referred to as VBox or VB. You'll hear people call it. It's feature rich. There's a lot of features installed in VirtualBox which are quite key. Snapshots being one of them. VMware Workstation Player free version is the other one that we'll look at. There's less features basically. If you're going to use a machine that you're not going to start breaking, installing random stuff on and tinkering about with it, then Workstation Player is great for that. I have them set up so when I'm doing Try Hack Me Labs and I VPN into their network to connect to a machine and I want a Kali Linux box, I'll use my Workstation Player. I know it's sitting there, it's not been tinkered with, it's not been played with, shall we say, and it's not broke. But those are the two that we're going to look at today. So let's get installing. So I have here a Windows desktop. As I said earlier, I'm a Windows guy. I don't do Mac. I never have done, to be honest. I have an iPhone for work and I hate it, just purely because I'm just not an Apple guy. People are, controversial. People like what they like and they don't what they don't. Haters will hate, but hey, it's what it is. And Windows is the most common operating system out there at the moment, so why not? So here's our Windows desktop. It's a fresh install of Windows. You will see a little thing coming down here maybe now and again saying Windows isn't activated. This is because this is actually a VM. I didn't want to install a brand new system to play around with this, so I've launched a VM in VirtualBox, installed Windows 10, and it's just it's not activated yet, so it's kind of in its trial period, and I'll tear it down after I've done these videos. So full disclosure on that. So how do we go about it? Well, first things first, we need to get software. Yeah, great, here we go. You can tell it's a new fresh version. Start without the data, don't sign into Google, don't allow anything, just go away. You're not having my soul, you're not having my firstborn child. Right, let's get out of all this. Get it shut down. Get rid of the Bing bar. Right, again, live. No post editing, all this muck's in here, so you may come across this exactly the same. So googly woogly, our best friend, your best friend. Google is the answer to most things. What do we want? We want VirtualBox. So type it in, VirtualBox. Again, if you see any ads popping up here where it says I can't remember what it says, to be honest. I've got DNS blockers that take most of it out. But anything that's sponsored or ads, don't click on it. Scroll down. Make sure you're getting the proper official link. So we click on the main site. And here's the VirtualBox site. Lots of useful links down the left-hand side. Screenshots to show you what it's all about. And the documentation. So if you're getting stuck, if you're wondering what's going on, how to do something, the documentation is great. But what we're looking for is to download the VirtualBox. So, excuse me, I've never done so much talking. VirtualBox 7 is the current version of VirtualBox, and we're on the 22nd of July 2023 when I'm recording this. and it's available for a number of hosts, so you can get it for Windows, Mac, Intel hosts, Linux and Solaris. I'm on a Windows, so I'm going to hit Windows, and here it comes, it downloads. It's going to take 30-40 seconds to download. We're doing this in real time. I am conscious of the length of the video, so if anything goes wrong I may pause it just to shorten the length. Nobody wants to sit and listen to me waffle for half an hour or so. But there you go, it's downloaded. We hit open file and wait for it to trigger. Bear in mind this is a virtual machine, so things are not as super speedy and you know, rapid as you'd expect on a normal machine. Yes to accept that, and away we go. Right, first error. Okay, so again, this is live. This is what you're going to see, right? You'll see people, they install it because they've installed it loads of times before. So this base software that's needed to run VirtualBox is normally installed on the system, so they never come across this. You come up against it and go, oh my god, what's this? What am I going to do with this? Right, really simple. This one's not an issue at all. I'm just going to get my window out of the way so I can see both of these. What do we need to do? So Oracle VM VirtualBox 7 blah 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 needs the Microsoft Visual C++ 2019 redistributable package being installed first. Please install and restart the installation. Having done this before, you have to cancel this and then restart the install again, which is fairly easy. So we need that software. How do you get software? Reject all on the privacy policies. Googly woogly. Did I just type Google? Google. So what do we want? We want, bearing in mind, lots of people use VirtualBox, so this is going to be searched quite a bit. So we want Microsoft. I spell that right? Yeah. Microsoft Visual. It's starting to come up already. I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen. You can't see me pointing. Use your mouse. It's starting to come up already. Oh, look, there it is. But just to make sure that we get the right version, it's not showing there yet. 2019. Boosh. Again, here it is. Latest supported Visual C++. Let's expand this so we can see the page. Right, so we scroll down. This tells you all about what's in the article. Let's scroll down. We want something. Right, so we've got it for the ARM architecture. So if you're running something like a Raspberry Pi, you'd need it for that. x86 is your 32-base operating system. I'm running a 64-bit operating system, so I'm going to go for that. Click it. It downloads. A couple of seconds. There it is. Same thing again. Open file. Do you agree to license terms to sell your firstborn, give away your soul? Yeah. Windows account control, making sure everything's super safe. Hey, did you launch this? Are you sure you want to install this software? Of course we do. Can't get VirtualBox otherwise. In we go, and it's done. Quick and easy. It's not painful. What I might do is save the link and put it down in the little gobbledygook at the bottom. Speaking of the gobbledygook at the bottom, have you subscribed? Have you hit the like button? Wait until the end to hit the like, because you might not like it. But certainly subscribe, hit the old notification bell thing just to keep updated. There will be more videos coming out. Just support the channel. Thanks very much. Right, so we've got that. We don't need VirtualBox anymore. We can get rid of this. So it's saying it's ended prematurely. Well, of course it has, because we couldn't launch it. Installation failure. Yes, we know it was fatal. So what we're going to do now, we're not going to go back to Google. It's already downloaded. And there it is. So we just kick it off again. Do you want to install it? Yes, we do. And this will be a fairly quick run through. So next, we just have a quick check. Nothing has got a red X on it, which means that it's not going to get installed. Everything's clean. Nothing's greyed out to say only part of it's going to get installed. It's all going to get installed. Happy days. If you really want to change the location of where it's installed, you can do. I don't. All my program files sit in the program files. That's where they're meant to be. I just keep it as per. You don't run into any issues or problems. Feature requires 210 megabytes on your hard drive, so make sure you got the space. As I said in a previous video, you know, you can start munching through your space. So further to do, let's crack on. Next on that, warning: network interfaces. So basically it's telling you that during this it has to install virtual network adapters. So what it does is it briefly resets your network connection on your PC. Not normally a problem unless you're doing a download or something like that. Maybe you got a game running or something on your PC, then that will get interrupted very briefly, but it's not normally a problem. So do you want to proceed with the installation right now, or say no, cancel it, come back at a later time? But yeah, we can go ahead. It's not going to bother us. So missing dependency, so it needs Python core and Win32 API that's not currently installed. It's a fresh build of Windows, as I say. It needs it. So do you want to install it? Yes, of course we do. We can't have it unless we do. So install. Away we go. Quick and easy. And as I say, real time. I'm not pausing the video because you can see the desktop icons popped up in there, on there already. It's writing all the registry values, and there we go, it's in. Congratulations, you've got your first hypervisor. So we'll hit finish. It's ticked to start VirtualBox as soon as we click finish. So we'll click finish, let it start, and we'll have a quick nosy round. We're not going to install any VMs on it on this video. We'll do that on the next one, simply because of the time, and we've still got to install VMware Workstation Player. So a little bit around, you can when you come into here, you can import a virtual machine. So sometimes you'll download an operating system or as a whole VirtualBox package that you can just import. You can create a new virtual machine, you can add one. So there's all those lovely little tools. These will all come into play a bit later on in some more videos. But there we go, we got VirtualBox installed. This is the VirtualBox Manager window. Happy days. Wasn't too painful. No? Okay. So let's go back to Google. Googler. And we'll show you VMware. Hey, I still can't type. VMware. What am I looking for? VMware Workstation. It's been a long day. VMware Workstation Player. Okay, again, it's live. It's live recording. Again, we're not looking for any sponsored links, anything like that. We want VMware. Download VMware Workstation Player. And here it is. I recognise the logo and all this because obviously I've installed it before. And that's what we want. 17 is the current one that, of the time of recording. So if you're on Linux, you would click the download now for under the Linux one. We're on Windows, download now. Slightly bigger installer, so it will take a few more seconds to download than VirtualBox, but it's equally as fast to install. So we'll just wait for this to trundle along. Yes, in hindsight, I could have downloaded these prior to starting the video. It would have been, you know, a little bit better. But hey, you're seeing it in real time. Watch the video, and then go back and have a play on your own, so you know how long it's going to take. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. But less than a minute. Something else must be going on my network. It's nope, it's just their servers are a little bit sluggy at the moment. Again, with your internet speed, I'm going full whack. It just depends on the time it takes on their servers, and I'm only on a 50 meg line at the moment here in the UK. So 20 odd seconds left. Apologies, it takes a while, but we're getting there. This is real life IT. This is what we're doing. Get used to it. Patience is going to be one of the key assets that you'll need, because you'll be doing a lot of downloading and installing and waiting. And it's downloaded, and you then have to wait for Windows to do its malware searches on it, make sure it's all nice and safe. Come on, almost there. A few seconds more. There we go. Fantastic. Let's get going on it. So we wait for the launcher to kick up. Again, a little bit sluggish. This is a virtual machine. Here we go. Do you really want to install it? Yes, we do. Of course we do. We can get rid of this window now. We don't need it. Here it is, prepping the installation. Come on. You can't see it because my face is in the way, but I've got little icons down here in VirtualBox that tell me how hard things are working. Right, so here's the setup wizard. Here we go. Pretty much the same as the last one. This is going to install Workstation 17 player. That's what we want. Next, accept the license agreements. Yes. Couldn't have it if you don't, so of course you've got to accept it. Right, two little boxes here. You want the tools, want it to add the console tools into the system path. You definitely need that happening. The enhanced keyboard driver, I always select this option. It does say that a reboot will be required to use this feature. That's not a problem. Don't worry about it. We don't need to do a reboot. You'll be glad to hear. So you don't have to wait another 5 minutes for this thing to reboot. We can use it without that. Next time you reboot your system, it'll automatically sort itself out, and this video is getting long enough as it is. Do you want to check for product updates on startup? I'm going to take this out, simply because when you want to launch it, it's going to go through all its system checks and then go out on the internet, check for updates, and you just want it to launch and do what you need to do. You can check for updates at your own leisure. Don't forget to do it. Because the more up-to-date your software is, the safer it is. Do you want to join the VMware Customer Experience Improvement Program? Certainly not. Right, next option, desktop, start menu, programs folder, icons. Yes, we want them. And then install. So, registry keys, installing all the new files. This again is really quick to install. Takes seconds, especially on a base operating system, not a VM. But this is what you can do with VMs. Look at the power of this. I've got an operating system with a VM, and now I've got VMs running in my VMs. It's fantastic. So here's doing the same thing as VirtualBox, installing its own virtual network drivers. Doesn't give you any warnings on this, it just does it. And here we go. Boom, it's done. Right, there's two buttons at the bottom, license and finish. If you bought VM Workstation 17 Player Pro, you could enter your license here. Or click finish because we're installing the free version. And you must restart your system for the configuration changes made to this to take effect. No, we don't have to. Not yet. So, first launch of VMware Workstation is going to give you a nice little box. And it says, right, where's your license key? Give us loads of money. Nope. We can use it for free for non-commercial use. If you're working in a company and you want to use this on all your company computers, well, you could do, but you know, they like you to pay money for it. So we're going to leave this top one ticked. Click continue. Thanks for installing and using, and here we are. This is a Workstation 17 player console, where again you can create, open. You can upgrade to the Pro version. There's the help icon. You'll notice there are a hell of a lot fewer options and things to click on in this. I did say it was a lot lighter, so it's really nice if you just, as I say, if you just got a machine running, you just want to fire it up, do something, and use a machine, something that you're not going to break. So that is your 2 hypervisor types. VirtualBox is my chosen one for most of the work I do. Say I do use Workstation Player now and again, but normally I'm in VirtualBox. There's fantastic tools in VirtualBox. I even found one tonight whilst I was prepping for the video, so you know, it's great. Right, next videos, some of the next videos coming up, we'll look at installing Kali Linux on a VM on VirtualBox. We could even go through it on Workstation Player, but it's pretty much the same thing. We'll look at 2 ways of installing it, via an image and via the ISO installer. And there might be some other videos popping up, depends on how the mood takes me and what's on my mind. Right, hope this has been informational for you and you found it interesting. Click the like if you did. Appreciate that if you would. Subscribe, hit the little bell icon. You know the drill. Right, thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.